Ever tried AI image tools and wondered why the results look nothing like you? Today, I'm going to show you how to choose the right reference photos straight from your phone to generate scary accurate AI clones of yourself using Nano Banana for free. By the end, you'll be able to build a full library of photorealistic AI clones of yourself for thumbnails, contents, and social posts, all without taking a single new photo. Choosing the right reference photos is the #1 biggest factor in determining whether your AI clone look shockingly accurate or absolutely nothing like you. If your reference photos are off, you don't just end up with bad results. You can burn through your entire daily usage limit, waste hours regenerating, and still end up with images that doesn't really resemble you. I've definitely been there, so I'm going to show you the type of reference photo that made the biggest difference in improving my results. Nothing fancy or technical, just small things that helped the AI understand my face a lot better. Even if the results still come out slightly off initially, don't worry. I'll show you the small adjustments I made that instantly fixed some of my funniest failed outputs. More on that later. The easiest way to access the AI image generation tool Nano Banana is through Google Gemini. Simply navigate to the chat section, click on the tools, and select create image. If you just need to generate images without any logic or reasoning, then the fast model will work just fine. All the images that I'll be showing you is generated using the fast model. If you just need images that doesn't require a lot of reasoning, logical thinking, and research, I find the fast model is enough to get the work done. You also get more daily usage limit in the fast model than the pro model. So usually I would default to using the fast model first. To generate AI clones of yourself, you would just hit on this plus icon button to upload files, and you would attach your reference photos. So what makes a good reference photo? First, you don't need a fancy camera. Any modern smartphone has more than enough resolutions for AI models like Nano Banana. The most important thing is to make sure your photos are clear, that your face is in focus. Don't upload blurry photos, motion streaks, and photos that is clearly out of focus. You want to make sure the AI can clearly see your face, your features, to be able to replicate those in the output. I take all of my reference photos on my phone. Before I take the photos, I just quickly wipe the lens clean to make sure there's no fingerprints on them, and usually the results come out really nice and clear. Next is to make sure that you have good lighting. You don't need any fancy lighting gears. The easiest way to get soft, even lighting across your face is to stand in front of a window that gets nice, diffuse, natural light. You want to avoid harsh overhead lighting that's going to cast dramatic shadows across your face if you are standing below a spotlight, or if you are taking photos during golden hours. It's going to confuse the AI with all those different shadows on your face. Make sure you're not uploading photos that are backlit, where you are completely dark, which is going to make it hard for AI to see your features. You also don't want to upload photos that are overexposed, with part of your face completely blown out. Now, you don't just want to give your AI a single angle of your face. If you want the AI to be able to generate different perspectives of you from different angles, then you will want to supply a few front-facing shots of your face, as well as some three-quarter shots from each side and a profile shot. This way, the AI will be able to build a clear 3D understanding of your facial geometry, and it won't have to guess what you look like in those angles. Because when the AI starts to guess, that's when it gives you output that looks terribly wrong. This is an example of the AI-generated output where I only give it front-facing views of my face, and this side shot of me reading a book on the bed looks terribly wrong. If you only want the AI to generate headshots or portraits of your face, then giving it reference photos with close-up and medium shots are perfectly fine, because it gives the AI the most details about your facial features. But if you want the AI to generate a full body image, then you will want to include at least one full body shot so that the AI can understand your proportions from head to toe. I find that if I only give it close-up and medium reference photos, the outputs of a full body shot usually don't look as accurate, because the AI now has to guess what my face looks like in a distance. Once you've selected 3 to 6 photos that are clear, well lit, and shot from a variety of angles, the AI can finally have enough information to recreate you accurately. And now we've nailed the reference photo. Let me show you the fun part, the actual results that I got and the exact prompt formula I used to get Nano Banana to generate the exact pose, angle, and aesthetic that I'm after every single time. One thing that I learned is that if your reference photos are solid, then your prompt doesn't need to be complicated at all. In fact, if you keep your prompt simple, it's going to allow AI more creative freedom to generate something that you haven't thought of and give you more ideas. This is perfect if you don't have any specific image in mind that you want to generate. You only have a rough idea. You just want AI to fill in the gap and give you some inspirations. Here are some few prompts that I used that gave me insanely realistic results. Generate a new image of this lady sitting on a green couch facing the camera. Create an image of this lady looking out the window on a rainy day, close-up shot on an angle. And generate a medium shot of this lady wearing blue scrub. Honestly, if it wasn't for the background, I wouldn't be able to tell that this image is actually AI generated. But if you want more control over your image or you want to achieve a specific look, here is my 3-part prompt formula that works really well to convey the idea. First part of the prompt formula is the style. The style defines the vibe that you're after. It defines the overarching theme for that image. Just by telling AI the style you're after allows the AI to generate something that's on point without you having to specify in very detailed prompt on exactly each aspect or elements in the image. You can describe the style in terms of genre. Is it a documentary, sci-fi, anime, or even Pixar? This one keyword alone tells the AI a lot about how the image looks like. But you can also describe style in terms of a time period, like Roman Empire, Baroque, or in the 80s. This image here is generated with this prompt. Generate a portrait photograph of the attached lady, stares into the camera thoughtfully, Baroque period close-up shot. Notice how this photo came out looking like a hand-drawn painting instead of a photorealistic shot? Well, that's because back in the Baroque period, cameras didn't exist back then. When you think about it, how AI works is that it uses the data it has been trained on. And because every visual reference it has from the Baroque period are paintings and drawings, naturally, it generated this illustrative look. But in a minute, I'll show you how I tweaked the prompt with a few words to force the AI to see the Baroque period in a modern lens that generated a photorealistic look that I was after. Another way to describe the style is just by telling it the photography style of the image. Is it a professional photo shot, an editorial fashion photo shoot, or a selfie? But one of my favorite style is actually telling AI the format or the medium of the image. A film still basically captures one single frame, or you can say a screenshot that looks like it comes out straight from a movie scene. It automatically applies the cinematic lighting, slight color grading, and that storytelling atmosphere. It just adds a touch of professionalism to your image. Second part of the prompt is the subject itself. This is the character, most likely you if you're trying to clone yourself. You won't have to describe in details of how the character look like if you are already supplying reference photos, but you will describe the actions that it's doing, the emotions they're feeling, and maybe accessories, clothing, or even makeup. The last part of the prompt formula is the scenery and the effects. You want to describe the background or the location of that image. You can also specify what the camera is doing. Is it a close-up shot, over-the-shoulder shot, or a top-down view of the character? This image here is generated from the prompt. Generate an action film still of this lady wearing a cape like a superhero flying horizontally across a busy city with skyscraper, sunrise, close-up shot on an angle. Once you combine solid reference photos with this 3-part prompt structure, style, subject, and scene, you can generate almost any scenarios with different outfit, style, different mood, all while keeping your face perfectly consistent. Okay, so the results I showed you look amazing, but full disclaimer here, some of the images definitely didn't start out that way. I actually had some really weird, distorted outputs in the beginning. Faces that barely looked like me, expressions that looked off, and sometimes the images got worse the more I generated. So I want to show you the exact mistakes that caused those issues, but more importantly, the simple tweaks that instantly fixed those issues. The first thing that made the biggest improvement in my AI clone accuracy was surprisingly simple. It was simply by shutting down the current chat and starting a new chat session. What I noticed was that as I continued to generate images, the likeness of those outputs started to drift. The AI starts to pick up patterns or subtle mistakes from earlier output, and it kind of compounds those issues. It's like the AI is learning from your less than perfect outputs and exaggerating them in the next try. So if you start noticing inconsistent outputs, faces that doesn't really look like you anymore, just close the chat session and start a new one. A clean slate resets the model's context and forces the AI to refocus on only using the reference photo and the prompt you supply it right now. The next issue is supplying reference photos with drastically different expressions. If one photo is laughing and the next one is angry and the next one is surprised, your facial proportion actually shifts quite a bit in each of these photos. And sometimes that can really confuse AI on how you actually look like in your neutral facial expression. But if you only supply neutral facial expression, then the AI won't have any emotional references to make. For example, this image here where I prompted to give me a selfie of me on a vacation, it has this dramatic, excited smile, which kind of looked a bit off to me. And that is because I've only supplied the neutral expressions. The AI doesn't really know how I look like when I'm laughing and excited, so it had to make a guess. Same with this output here. I asked it to generate an image of me looking pissed off, and it came up with this output. I don't even know how to make that expression. I mean, how do you make your nose wrinkle vertically? The way I fix these outputs is to upload a few neutral expressions of myself with at least 1 to 2 emotions that I want the AI to generate. So the AI knows how I look like in my neutral facial expression, but it can still generate that specific emotion. This one here, I uploaded some reference photos of me looking annoyed, and I prompted to give me a face that looks slightly annoyed. This output is a lot better and much more realistic. And my last tip on troubleshooting your failed output is to tell the AI how the image was captured. Earlier, I showed you that AI image of me in the Baroque era. The image was an illustrated, hand-drawn picture rather than a photorealistic shot that I was after. When I first saw the image, it kind of reminded me of the classical composer Beethoven. And by the way, Beethoven isn't technically Baroque, he's later, but visually you get the idea. That painterly, historical, illustrated vibe. You can instantly tell the character is somewhere from the history. But what if you just want to keep that kind of styling and still have a photorealistic shot of the character? Instead of removing the whole Baroque keyword and describing in details of what the dress or the hair should look like, I added to the prompt, generate a photo shot on a Nikon D850 of the attached lady staring into the camera thoughtfully, Baroque period close-up shot. And now look at the result. The hair, clothing, and background still feel Baroque, but the image now looks like it was taken in the modern day. Same era styling, same mode, but now it's clearly a real photograph, not a painting. So now you've got photorealistic AI clones of yourself that actually look like you. Let's talk about what creators care about the most. How do you actually use these images to save time and level up your content? This is where the AI image tool becomes more than just a cool trick. It becomes a very powerful tool. Let's start with thumbnails. This is where creators can spend hours, even days, just to try and capture the scene and the shot that they're after. But now you can generate AI versions of yourself. You have unlimited number of poses and expressions to work with. You can also create shots that would be impossible to capture in real life, like hanging off a building, mid-air action shot, or posing next to a leopard without dying. The best part is you don't have to take a single new photo. Your thumbnail will always look consistent, on-brand, and eye-catching. You don't have to worry about your clothing, makeup, or hair. And you can generate them in minutes instead of having to set up a whole photo shoot every single time. The second use case is to use these images as visual overlays for your videos. You can use these images as B-rolls or image overlays to emphasize a point, to add humor, or just to break up your talking head footage to add a bit of interest. For example, when I was talking about what not to do with your reference photos, I can use AI to generate a backlit image of me rather than trying to take that specific photo with the lighting condition. I asked AI to generate a blurred vision of this photo as a demonstration of what not to put in your reference photos. These images give me instant visual demonstration without me having to stop filming and set up different scenes. You can simply just grab a frame from your video and ask AI to tweak it however you like to demonstrate a certain point in your video. It's such a time saver, I definitely recommend you try it out. And the third use case is branding assets. You can now use these AI clones to generate profile photos, your hero images on your website, even your digital product mockups. This means you can create professional-looking photographs without hiring professional photographers to make those shots. These clones aren't just cool images, they're your creative asset. They let you make thumbnails faster, add visual storytelling to your videos, and upgrade your online presence without having to constantly reshoot. Now that you can create photorealistic AI clones of yourself, the next thing you probably want to do is to turn those clones into high click-through rate thumbnails, the one that actually get people clicking. In my next video, I put AI and human thumbnail designs head-to-head to see who could create the best performing thumbnails using Nano Banana Pro, also completely free. The results shocked me, and this might change the way you create thumbnails forever. So if you want to see the full step-by-step process and find out who actually won the contest, make sure you subscribe to my channel and follow along. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you over there.